Crazy. And I know I'm gonna have people going into all the preview videos. You didn't know what you're talking about. Okay, so hands up anybody who thought all four division winners were gonna be out in the first round. You're lying, put your hand down. Hands up if you thought it was gonna happen in 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, and then 7 games. Why do you still have your hand up? These are the most crazy playoffs ever. And this really started feeling like old Washington, the Washington Capitals from before last season, and the fans knew it. First period, it's worthy of note, Ferland and Svechnikov both did not play in this game. Ferland not cleared, Svechnikov not cleared, still dealing with concussion symptoms. And then Burakovsky scored early in the first. And it's like, okay, so Washington's back. We've done this thing where back and forth, back and forth. You know, if you're at home, you win. And that's the way it's gone the entire series. And I wrote, Holtby looks sharp. I swear these notes were written as I watched the game. Wilson then scores from Ovechkin and Orlov. Caps get the first power play in the game, which I thought was worthy of note because the power play's been deadly for the Capitals. They didn't score on it. The shots after the first period were 10-10. Mrazek looked a little shaky. Holtby looked fantastic. Second period, Trevor Van Riemsdyk and Brooks Orpik were both hurt at different points here. Orpik returned, TVR returned later. So Trevor Van Riemsdyk returned to the game later. I want to say about midway through the third, I started hearing his name again. They played with 5 defensemen in the meantime. Aho then scores from Pesce and Slavin. That's a shorthanded goal. And then they go to Rod Brindamore. And I have to say, the interviews with Rod Brindamore are the only time that I've really enjoyed this whole let's go talk to the coach thing. He said, we're playing like crap right now. And it was so refreshingly honest and fantastic. And yet, as much as I thought it was funny, Kuznetsov then scores from Hagelin. And I thought, maybe your bench heard you. But again, it was a great quote. It was really funny. And please mic up Rod Brindamore more during games. Thank you very much. And the Caps, I had to put up here, the Caps were hitting often and hard. The Oshie chants were really loud. The Capitals fans were really into it. So they're out hitting them. They're out playing them. And then Teravainen scores from Pesce and McGinn. And it's 3-2 after 2. Shots were 9-9 in the second. And it felt like they kept clawing back into it, did those Carolina Hurricanes. So it's a 1-goal game after 2 periods. Fine, 1-goal game, you can bring this home. Third period. This is where I feel bad for putting Holtby looks sharp at the top of the board. Stahl scores a goal from Slavin. Poor goal. Very much. Holtby was just in the wrong spot. Gave Stahl way too much space to hit. There's way too much net to look at. A lot of net for him. And when you're Jordan Stahl, you'll hit that every time. I wore this because he got a goal tonight and he played really well. I think this was the best game I've seen Jordan Stahl play in the playoffs in a long time. And I know Carolina's been in the playoffs for a while, but he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it doesn't matter. And then the Caps almost get it with 2:25 left, and I thought that was worthy of note, that the Capitals came close. Not only that, but they outshoot Carolina 12-5 in the third period, but Carolina gets that bad goal. So we go to overtime. And I know Carolina fans weren't happy with the overtime, so let's go through this. They weren't calling any penalties. None. Mrazek got run over a couple of times in the overtime while in his own crease. Nothing called. Not only that, but Brett Connolly plays the puck within his own zone, flips it out, goes right over the glass. Should have been delay of game. The referees and linesmen all huddle, and they agree they didn't see anything. So, since the puck doesn't bleed, there's no penalty. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. And so, the funny thing, the thing that I liked the best about this was, later on in the period, Mrazek has a puck go off of his shoulder and his mask. And it's off of Ovechkin, so that had to hurt. Knocks his mask off. So, they call for the trainer, and he goes, fine, I'm fine. And then the referee's close by, and you can see him pointing at the glass, like, that puck was, did you not see that he, and you could see him doing this. And I thought, yeah, he's scolding the referee for missing that delay of game penalty. But at any rate, we get back to the action. There's a 2-on-1 for the Carolina Hurricanes, and Aho completely whiffed at that puck. I had to write that up here because I thought, man, that could come back to haunt the Carolina Hurricanes. And then I did something I have never had to do in a game. I went to the second side of the board. It's a good thing that there was only one playoff game tonight, because I couldn't have got all this information onto the board if there were two. Second overtime begins, and I tell you, this one was really settled down. And I want to give Kelly Rudy some credit here. Of the Sportsnet panel, he was the only one that thought that this game was going to go for a long time. Everybody else, Kiprios, Ron McLean, and Elliot Friedman, they all thought it was going to be over early because Holtby and Mrazek had both looked shaky. And in the first overtime, Carolina outshot Washington 11-4. Carolina was just absolutely all over the Caps. But since it's overtime, you can't read a whole lot into that. We've seen overtimes where a team's buzzing and controlling it, and it takes one shot. So we don't pay too much attention to the shots. But in second overtime, it kind of continued. In fact, let me double check. I didn't actually look and see what the shots were in the double overtime, because I know it got crazier. Yeah. The shots in the double overtime weren't any better. Let me just throw this up here. And again, I tried not to pay too much attention to it because, it's overtime, so you just never know. Menelanen puts the puck over the glass, and of course it's a penalty, right? So for Carolina fans, you're at home, you're throwing your beer in the air, your pizza up against the ceiling. Great. Washington does it, it's not a penalty. The fix is in, we do it, and it's a penalty on us. It was really, really obvious on Menelanen. The Connolly play, it wasn't so obvious at full speed. In fact, at full speed, I didn't realize what they were debating. I thought they were debating where the faceoff should be. And then Jacob Vrana hits the post. He hits the post. And there were a number of opportunities both teams had in the overtime where they could have ended it, and they didn't. Oh, I'm so sorry. I would like to apologize to Caps fans because I wrote on the board Holtby sharp again. Because Braden Holtby was playing really well. Played great the first overtime. He seemed to have his stuff back together. And then 11:05 into the second overtime, Brock McGinn gets a goal from Williams and Slavin. It is not a bad goal on Holtby. It's not. It was relentless pressure by the Carolina Hurricanes. They interviewed Justin Williams after the game, and he said, we just believed. We just knew we could do this. We never gave up, and it was all about all that pressure. They outshot Washington in the double overtime 7-2, which means if you look at the two overtimes together, they outshot Washington 18-6. And it was noticeable how quiet the Washington crowd was. Other than the Oshie chants that would start up here and there, they were really pretty quiet. You could see that in the way this game was going, there was a feeling taking over that crowd of, are we back? So, Carolina gets the win. Mrazek saves 34 out of 37. He was excellent. Don Cherry won't say a thing about it because he loves McElhinney, so he will not acknowledge that Mrazek was excellent in this series. He may throw Holtby under the bus. He may throw other people under the bus. He will not praise the Carolina Hurricanes. That's my bet. He may praise Williams. Williams with an assist on this the whole game. Every time I turned around, there was Pierre Maguire, Mr. Game 7, Mr. Game... The thing is, and the guys on Sportsnet said this, he hates that name. Assisting on the overtime goal, though, in a Game 7, isn't going to help him get rid of it. So for the Carolina Hurricanes with this win, they now move on to face the New York Islanders in round 2. And the Islanders probably wanted this to go to 4 overtimes. They would have loved to have seen this go on for quite a while. Their series starts on, I want to say, Friday. I believe Friday's Game 1. I will be doing the preview for that tomorrow. And I want to say to Caps fans as well that may look at my board and say, you jinxed us. Every time you put Holtby looks sharp, Carolina managed to come back and there was a bad goal, or in this case, right after I put it on the board, Carolina scores. I almost did up the graphic and did the preview for round 2 when the Capitals were up 3-1. I thought, you know what, the Capitals aren't going to blow this. I'm going to make the graphic, and I'm going to do the preview for round 2, and I'm going to look really smart because I'll have it up just as this series comes to an end. And it's a good thing I didn't, because that would be the ultimate jinx, wouldn't it? So 31 minutes and 5 seconds of overtime before Carolina scored. Parody's a thing. I'm sure we'll hear again in the next few days how it's unfair that the Stanley Cup champions got knocked out in the first round. It's unfair that Tampa and Calgary are out after the great season they had. It's unfair Nashville got the... You know what? Win. Win, and it's all fair. Carolina, thank you for proving me wrong. Thank you for proving pretty much everybody wrong. This is a great series by the bunch of jerks. Now they've got to do it again. Now they've got to go in and play against the New York Islanders, a team which most of the year, when you looked at playoff matchups, Carolina and the Islanders seemed to be on a collision course with one another, and now they are. So in a year where John Tavares goes to Toronto with the idea of winning a cup and the Tampa Bay Lightning win 62 games, we have Carolina and the Islanders in the second round because we are officially in bizarro world with the 2019 playoffs. This was a fantastic game. Full credit to the Carolina Hurricanes for not backing off, for some tremendous defense, for some great attack. And Nino Niederreiter is so just snake bit when it comes to goals right now. He should have at least had one in this game. He had the puck a ton. But, you know, I'm sure he's fine tonight because they're in the second round. So there you go. Crazy town. We're there. It's still... I don't know what to make of these playoffs, but if you like underdogs, and you know this guy does, these playoffs have been very entertaining, and I don't think we're done yet. Can you imagine if it's Carolina and Columbus, and Colorado and Dallas, or even just Colorado and St. Louis? Just imagining that. If those were our Final Four. We will not have a back-to-back Cup champion in the NHL this year. That is pretty standard. Outside of the Pittsburgh Penguins, it just doesn't happen anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Sorry this is up late, but hey, the game took forever. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and the first round is now officially finito. And round 2 starts tomorrow. No rest for the wicked. I'll talk to you again soon.